Will the frozen ties between India and China see a thaw soon? I ask that question because a day after Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi called for stable ties with China, Beijing has responded positively. That's right. Addressing a media briefing in Beijing, the Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Mao Ning said, and I'm quoting, "China has noted the remarks by the Prime Minister. We believe that sound and stable China-India relations serve the common interests of both sides and are conducive to peace and development of the region and beyond." And while responding to a question about the ongoing border dispute, Mao said that it does not represent the entirety of China-India relations, saying that it should be placed appropriately in bilateral relations and managed properly. The Chinese official further reiterated that both countries have maintained close communication, both diplomatically and militarily, also noting that there has been positive progress when it comes to resolving the border issues. Now, China's response came after Prime Minister Modi said that India's ties with China are important and significant. In an interview with Newsweek magazine, Prime Minister Modi said that the India-China border situation needs to be addressed urgently to resolve the abnormality in the bilateral interactions. He said, and I'm quoting now, "It is my belief that we need to urgently address the prolonged situation on our borders so that the abnormality in our bilateral interactions can be put behind us. Stable and peaceful relations between India and China are important for not just our two countries, but the entire region and the world." Now, earlier, China's state-run Delhi had termed Prime Minister Modi's remarks as a gesture of goodwill. Remember, the two world powers are facing off against each other along the over 3,400-kilometer-long border known as the Line of Actual Control. Ties have been virtually frozen except for trade ever since the Eastern Ladakh border standoff erupted in 2020, following a violent clash in the Pangong Tso area. While China's talk of stability at the border is a positive sign, it's not new. Beijing has often sought to de-link the standoff at the border from the overall bilateral relationship with India. However, India has maintained that there cannot be restoration of normalcy in its relations with China as long as the state of the borders remains abnormal. And this begs the question, is China serious about seeking normal ties with India? Remember, to resolve the standoff, India and China have so far held 21 rounds of Corps Commander level talks. According to the Chinese military, the two sides so far agreed to disengage from 4 friction points, namely the Galwan Valley, the Pangong Lake, Hot Springs, and Jianan Daban, Gogra. But India wants the Chinese People's Liberation Army to disengage its troops from the Depsang and Demchok areas. New Delhi will not unfreeze relations until China makes major concessions on the border and returns to the pre-2020 status quo. Meanwhile, Beijing has adopted a dual approach, it seems. On one hand, it is building up troops and military infra at the border, and on the other hand, it talks of restoring ties. It has made negotiations a test of wills. But all is not bad. There are signs towards stabilization of India-China ties. Most importantly, the disputed border has remained relatively quiet. There has been no further escalation or clashes in the last year. Yes, tensions between the two militaries deployed close to the border persist, but the relative calm around the line of actual control, which is the de facto border, indicates that both Beijing and New Delhi seek to de-escalate. The two sides are actively talking to each other and discussing their troubled relationship. This has been happening both between the military and the diplomatic establishments. It is also happening between the top leaders. All this offers some hope for improving relations in 2024. Remember, India is going to the polls this year with Prime Minister Modi seeking a third term, and this is why the timing of Prime Minister Modi's comment on China gains greater significance. It shows a readiness to re-engage with China. Once the election is over, will 2024 see the turning of a new page in China-India ties? We will have to wait and watch. To stay up to speed with the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.